In this world, most of us men go through life struggling to make bread for the next day. The one thing that could change hundreds of millions, if not billions of men's lives, is dependent on a piece of paper that controls our every decision. That piece of paper is called money. Without it, most men would be forced to live out in the streets, homeless and destitute with no hope for the future. But is money really that important? Because most men can live very frugally and without much, so what are we not seeing here? Let's look at why men wake up to go to work and build this incredible world in the first place. Because no matter what the womanist movement says, men are the ones who built this world and are maintaining it to this day. If all men in the world were to decide to stop working for a single day, it would be Armageddon and things would begin to fall apart. But society would never admit that men are important. We are considered second-class citizens until wars must be fought, the grid needs to be maintained, and water must run through the pipelines, but I digress. Let's look at why men go to work in the first place. Whether you want to admit it or not, most men don't strive for greatness just for themselves and their goals. No, that couldn't be further from the truth. The truth is most men have the drive to go to work to access sex from women. Without women, most men would still live in caves or tiny huts somewhere in peace and solitude. Now, I know you're saying, no, the gent, that's cap. Alright, you believe that's cap. I know for a fact that we wake up and work because of women. Simply because if you can't prove that you have any resources, most of you guys would never get to enter a woman's body, period. Unless you're that guy, and let's be real, most of us aren't. We would never even get a sniff of that steaming hot sugary nectar. Am I lying? And men want to bust and bust gallons. So women with their standards of I'll give you this, if you give me that, or you have this, is why we wake up every day, go to our soul-sucking job and grind it out. If most men did not have to improve themselves and women would still lie on their backs, civilization would still be using arrows and spears to hunt the woolly mammoth, and deep down, you know it. Deep down, you know that if you can't do without busting that nasty nut, you're gonna find a way. And how most men from the beginning of time have been able to get that satisfactory roar is inside a woman that he finds attractive. Busting gallons on yourself doesn't scratch that itch that the sugary nectar scratches no matter how much time you bust one off. So we need a woman to feel temporary relief and satisfaction, which is why we go to work to get resources. Now, I'm aware that there are other reasons why men choose to work outside of women, but if you didn't have the sexual urge, which is the strongest motivational force on the planet, you would take life easy. As a matter of fact, if we didn't have testosterone coursing through our veins, we wouldn't even deal with women. There wouldn't have been a point, because whether you want to believe me or not, most men and women are not compatible even at the conversational level. And they don't make good companions if you really look at it. You cannot rely on women to be in your life or do what benefits both of you for the long term, and we see that play out in breakups and divorces every day. With that said, I want you to understand that men get their motivation to provide because of women and family, which is why we've been able to advance this far in modern society. The problem and the reason for making this video are for men to realize that mate selection will be their most important life decision throughout this life. And until men start taking this seriously, most men will never be able to become financially free. Here's the deal. Choosing a bad partner can have long-lasting effects on you and your immediate family for generations to come. One woman can be responsible for generational poverty for you, her, and your kids. This is why I mentioned it early at the beginning of the video. Money for most men isn't a problem because men typically don't have a spending problem. When you add a woman to the equation, a man's money gets flushed down the toilet. You see, women are the primary spenders in society and men are the primary producers. Most men really start to spend money to pursue women or provide for their families, which is how wealth is transferred and circulated in society on a fundamental level. As soon as the women get the money, she will find a way to spend that money primarily on maintaining herself and then buying things for the family if she has any. Women are expensive, and to maintain or improve how she looks is going to cost money. The funny part is women will use a man's money to finance all this to market themselves to try and attract a man with more resources than her current man. Have you ever noticed that when you're with a woman for a long time, she stops trying to look good for you? But when she wants to monkey branch and start going to girls' night out, she will begin dressing up and looking good. And I'm aware that women nowadays make their own money, and many make more than a lot of men. But here's an RP for you guys. Women don't like spending their own money because it doesn't validate them. When a woman can leverage segs or how good she looks to get free money, that is when she'll feel good about spending the money. That way, she can keep what she has but get to spend yours. Because women don't like giving up bedroom fun without getting something in return, and that's how they are. I didn't make them. This is why after you guys move in together, which I'm against, if you're not taking her out and spending money on her, prepare to get no action. I'm saying all this for you to understand the silent exchange between men and women. Men give up resources to get access to segs, and women leverage their looks and bodies to get free stuff and money from men, and it ain't changing anytime soon. No amount of going your own way will change this dynamic between men and women. And because women are bad at managing money, they will have to rely on men to survive in this world. And no amount of womanism is going to change that anytime soon. Now that I set up this point nicely, none of you guys can say you don't understand where the remainder of the video is going. So let's examine why mate selection is the most important decision for men and the consequences of choosing the wrong mate. Women come in different shapes, sizes, spirits, mindsets, and motives in a man's life. If women didn't need men, then they probably wouldn't deal with us either. But here's the problem: modern women don't enter a man's life to improve and make it better. Hell no, those women stopped making in the early 1900s. Modern women are for themselves first and foremost, and you're only selected to elevate her. You see, men, you're not particularly wanted or valued to the modern woman outside of forking up your hard-earned money and giving it to her so she can upgrade her lifestyle. Besides, they really don't care about you and make it clear through their actions. Child support is one of the main things that cripple many men in America. I'm not going to talk to the guys that bust up in these women and genuinely want her to raise the kid while you're in these streets piping down other women. If you get put on child support because you're dodging responsibility, then I understand, and that's why the system was put in place. But where I draw the line is the vindictive women who believe they should use the child support system to extract money from the man and keep the child away from the father. Child support is one of the most evil systems in the world because it drains the man's resources and incentivizes the mother to keep the child away from the father to get more money. But if you make additional money, they can take you in for modifications to suck even more money out of you. This alone is a wealth killer that keeps the man from being able to strive financially for 18+ years. And the sad part is when the mother gets the money, she doesn't set some aside for the child's future. Nope, most of them spend it on BS or improving their standard of living while you live in a hovel. Not only that, because the courts benefit from you paying child support, the amount you are expected to pay is far too much for a single child to live off of, and that's how you transfer wealth to the mother and the system. If you choose the wrong mate who believes she owns the child and sees finessing you as more important than raising the child, then it's over. Many women plan these things years in advance, and once she hooks your goofy butt on the line, Operation Child Support Finesse will be set in motion. The long-term effects of child support can bring you to rock bottom, so I would advise that you choose wisely who you will bust up in Roski. Not all women will put you on child support or have thought about doing it, so I would advise that you take care of your kid and keep a record of everything you buy your kid and the money you give to the mother. Record everything. It doesn't guarantee you won't be placed on child support, but it might be good enough to make the judge decide to lower the amount you would have paid if you hadn't shown the court evidence that you're not a deadbeat. So again, guys, make sure you vet and choose wisely the woman you decide to make the mother of your children. Your seed is worth way more than you think. Divorce is another system women have at their disposal to finesse the hell out of men and extract their resources. By attaching itself to you in a binding contract, the parasite can automatically increase its standard of living and long-term financial standing for years to come. That is the harsh reality of marriage, and because the woman knows that if she marries a man with no hope of improving himself in the future, she will either get little or have to be the one paying instead of receiving a windfall, so she makes sure to marry up instead of marrying down. So any man who thinks marriage is about love and is not a business will surely get a rude awakening. Here's the deal, guys. If you choose a woman who is not marriage-minded or for the streets, she will finesse you out of generational wealth. Not only that, if she doesn't want to do her wifely duties and make it a duty to lie on her back with her 10 toes curling in the air, then expect the marriage to be a miserable, slow, and painful death. But the threat of divorce keeps most men up at night and in unfulfilled marriages. If you choose a selfish woman who wants to get her bag and run, then trust me, you will get divorced. It's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when. And the implications of divorce on you and the family, especially if you have kids, can lead the next generation to struggle because of one selfish individual. A divorce can extract money from a man to pay for legal fees, child support, alimony, half of what the wife is entitled to, and so on. Those can cost hundreds of thousands to millions, if not billions of dollars. So do you see how crucial mate selection is? Most couples do not stay girlfriends and boyfriends. The woman will naturally want to progress the relationship into marriage for her own security and to show the world she can get a man to marry her. So don't expect to deal with a woman without making that commitment. To protect yourself from divorce, you can either vet and try to select a woman who is least likely to file for divorce, or don't get married at all. If you don't get married, then you cannot get divorced. The wealth that will be snatched away from you if you get divorced is immeasurable, especially if kids are involved. If you guys don't have kids, the woman misses out on a windfall, which is one of the major reasons you see married couples with a kid right after they get married. This is what Coach Greg Adams calls the investment phase. The kid is her investment that may or may not be used to get child support or ensure that someone is there to take care of her in the future in case she divorces you or vice versa. Divorce should not be taken lightly because you not only enter a legal contract with your wife, but you also get into a legal contract with the government. But you don't have to get married for the system to extract your resource. You only need to live with the broad. Yes, you heard that right. All you have to do is cohabitate with a woman. She has the systems available at her fingertips to turn your life upside down. Many men, mainly young men, are unaware that common law marriage is one in which a couple lives together for a period of time and considers themselves as married, but without ever going through a formal ceremony or getting a marriage license. This is what is called a common law marriage. The good part is not all states in America practice common law marriage, but for the states who do, you have to be careful. Here are the places that recognize common law marriage: Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, Montana, New Hampshire, for inheritance purposes only, Oklahoma, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Texas, Utah, and the District of Columbia. 13 states have never allowed common law marriage. However, common law marriages contracted from other states are recognized in these states. Those 13 states are Arkansas, Connecticut, Delaware, Louisiana, Maryland, North Carolina, Oregon, Tennessee, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, and Wyoming. You have to be careful when cohabitating with a woman because you never know who will decide to bring you to court to extract your resources. This will not apply to everybody, so we're not going to dive too deep, but to protect yourself, you can either get a cohabitation agreement or never cohabitate with a woman. Those are your best options to protect yourself. The next way that women finesse men is by false allegations. If you believe that a woman won't lie on you to get what they want, you must be living under a rock. Women bring men to court and falsely accuse them of something to either get money from them or have them thrown behind bars, which is something that they can do because of the system. In the court of law and even in the court of public opinion, men are guilty until proven innocent and women are innocent until proven guilty. This is the sick nature of our society, and sadly it's not going to change anytime soon. Many men get falsely accused of rape, DV, and sexual assault, with the women only having to say that the man did something and that alone is enough to throw him behind bars. Isn't that crazy? She doesn't have to prove with evidence that you did what you're being accused of. Instead, she has to say you did something, and that alone is enough to end you. And many men of the past, and as I'm delivering this message to you, presently are being sentenced wrongly. So you guys better be careful who you decide to interact with or put your salami in. If you select the wrong girl to blow out her back and you didn't give her any aftercare, she can falsely accuse you of rape. If your wife or girlfriend wants sole custody of your kid, she can falsely accuse you of DV. If a woman working at your establishment doesn't like you and wants you fired, all she has to do is say you sexually assaulted her, and you'll get booted from the company or thrown behind bars. Take this very carefully. It's not a game out here. What are your options to protect yourself, you ask? Going your own way or monk mode is the ultimate protection from a false alligator. Besides that, you can pay a severance package to end your relationship with her or pray she doesn't file a charge. That's the best I got, brother. The last point of this video is messing with crazy chicks. Now here's the deal: if you mess with a crazy or vindictive woman, she can alter your entire life trajectory and have you thrown behind bars or 6 feet under. These women, if the crazy or vindictive nature seeps out, will stop at nothing to destroy your life and see you either struggling in life or taking a permanent dirt nap. Some of these women will key your car, burn down your house, physically assault you, poison your applesauce, hire a hitman, sabotage your success, cheat on you with your uncle or best friend, divorce grape you to kingdom come, and the list goes on and on. You guys know a wayman like this or someone who faced the full wrath of their actions. So expect that if you place your salami in crazy or evil, then expect to have your life changed forever. This is my suggestion: do your background check on the wayman you're interested in and hire a private investigator if necessary. If their past tells you that they have performed evil or crazy, then I want you to run as fast as humanly possible. Do not put your salami in first and then do your research. Make sure you do your research before annihilating any crazy or vindictive sugary nectar. If you're currently caught up in a situation with a person with those tendencies, well, if you have the option to run, then leave your hometown or state if you have to and never look back. If you can't run, I'm sorry, brother. Hold the faith and hope for the best. There's nothing that I can say to help you at that point. Prevention is always better than cure. And don't knock up a crazy or vindictive wayman. If you knock her up and you're not prepared to become a deadbeat, you'll never get rid of this person as long as the kid is alive or one of you is alive. So you better be careful with your mate selection, or else your life trajectory can literally be changed all because of one person. Tap that thumbs up button for me if you agree with this message, and thank you guys for the 10,000 subscribers. You guys are the reason this message can continue to spread and help more men, so I really appreciate the support. Now I want you gents to help us reach 15,000 subscribers as our next goal for the channel. Comment below if you guys have ever had any of these situations happen to you. Tell us what happened and share any tips that can help out other men. Remember to talk in code so we don't get in trouble. Remember, gents, the most important decision you will ever make in your life is mate selection.